MMAfighting.com, and I am joined by Bellator Bantamweight now, Mr. Brian Moore. Brian, how's it going?
I'm doing very well, PT. Thanks for having me.
This is the first time we've seen you at Bantamweight in quite some time, right? As far as I know, it was 2012 with Cage Warriors the last time you competed at Bantamweight.
I think it was 2014, maybe. I can't really remember, but it was done in a very different way. This way is much cleaner, much more professional approach, and I'm feeling fantastic. It's kind of making me think, why didn't I do this all along? But we'll see how we get on. But I'm really excited about the change, about the new division, because I keep saying it, this is my division. I'm not calling it the Bantamweight. It's the Brian Moore division. This is the way I feel about this. You know what I mean? I look at the opponents that I will face, and I'm looking forward to each and every challenge. It's a good top 5, it's an okay top 10, but I'm going to root myself straight in there by the end of this year, and I'm going to have a championship belt by the time 2020 rolls around.
I got to ask you about that last fight. It kind of went viral all throughout the UK and Irish scene. You broke both of your hands. You had some great success against Noad Lahat very early. I mean, what's that been like? 5 months, 2 broken hands. I'm sure that's very practical kind of things. It presents a lot of obstacles in normal life.
You can imagine the obstacles that are there with 2 broken hands, but to be honest, it was a tough time. If you follow me, you'll see how much of a family man I am. Not being able to hold my kids was really rough. I couldn't work. It was kind of even hard to eat. But it's after driving me on. My dad actually turned around to me about 2 weeks ago, and he said, "You remember when I dropped you up to the hospital? You remember how emotional you were?" He goes, "You use that. You use every bit of that." And it made me think, fucking right. You know what I mean? I'm going to channel that the right way, and this camp has been so focused, and I've had to be so focused to get down to the 135 pound to make this cut happen, and I've done it because I've channeled that negative energy into what I'm going to do. And it was a tough time, but these things, pressure makes diamonds, or these hard situations make champions, and I am born to be a champion. Not more so than I was born to be a champion. I work harder than anyone to become a champion, and that's what I will do. And the Lahat fight, it was a good fight, and without disrespecting Noad, it was the best I felt, and it was the easiest fight I ever had until I broke the 2 hands.
Was it 2 knockdowns you had in that fight?
3. I knocked him. I broke my hand at the end of round 1. My right hand. I didn't say anything to my corner because I have a good left hand too, and I knocked him down another 2 times with that. But when this broke, that was kind of it. Like he wasn't able to take me down. He couldn't get his grappling offense going. You know what I mean? It was fight was being very much controlled by my way. He was fading hard, but when I broke the 2 hands, I couldn't frame, I couldn't post, and it was kind of a very uphill battle then. But my heart was tested, and that passed. My hands were tested, they failed. But I'm looking forward to getting back in based on all of these things that did happen, and I'm looking forward to it.
When you've got those broken hands, you say you have a very young family, you can't pick up your daughters and stuff like that. Is there any part of you that's kind of like, in those dark moments, like after an injury like that, and as we said, there's so many practical obstacles in day-to-day life, is there any part of you that was like, maybe it's time to hang them up? Maybe you never had that cross your mind?
No, it's tough. It's tough as hell, and I'd be lying if it didn't cross my mind. But I'll break both hands and both legs to do what I want to do for my family, because that is where I get my motivation from. I want to be a champ to show them that that it is possible. I come from a rural area. I have to travel hours to get here. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be even doing this sport. I started when I was 21, but I know from the hard work and sacrifice and dedication that I'm going to put in, that they can look at it. They can look at their old man when they grow up, and they can go, okay, if I put time and effort into these things, or to whatever I want to do, I can achieve what I want to do too. And by being a world champion, it would be the perfect example for them. You know what I mean? So I'll do anything for them, and I do the sport for them.
A lot of people consider you the most underrated fighter that's hailing from this SBG gym. When you look at the opposition you've taken on, the 3 losses that you've had in Bellator are from guys at very top of the food chain in featherweight: Noad Lahat, AJ Mckee, and of course Daniel Weichel. And I believe you took Weichel and Mckee on very short notice as well, and a lot of people feel like you gave Mckee one of the best goes he's ever had in his undefeated career. When we think about you going down to bantamweight, and we think about the stopping power that you showcased against Lahat, if that power translates, it's going to have even bigger impacts on smaller opponents, you'd feel, right?
It'll be when it translates. You know what I mean? I'm going to leave a pile of bodies in this division, and I'm not even joking. I feel so sharp and switched on. My striking is a different level than where it was, and I think it was a different level than what else I seen in the featherweight division. I see these guys at Bantam, there's a lot of laying praying. There's a lot of long, boring decisions. I seen a title fight not recently. When I fought in Budapest, and I was like, "Fuck me, what else is on?" You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to bringing excitement to it, and that power will translate. It's no doubt about it. But you know, my record will probably mightn't show the whole story, and that's probably why people say that I am underrated. But who else in the world stood up to fight Daniel Weichel on a couple of weeks' notice? I was meant to pull out of the fight with AJ Mckee, and
that was crazy, right? I heard a lot of stories around the time. There was a lot of stuff going on with your family and that at the time, right?
Yeah, there was, and I didn't say anything because I wanted to give AJ his credit, but he decided to run his mouth about how he felt after it and during that camp. So I said, "Fuck it, I'll say my part too." But you know, there was a lot of things that that occurred in that camp, which made it really hard. My wife was extremely sick. My training was obviously very, very poor. I pretty much didn't train for that. But instead of pulling out of the fight, I heard that the main event was in crisis. So I said, right, give me AJ, because I wanted to see Bellator come back again and again. I wanted to, you know, a very proud Irishman, and I wanted to give Irish fans what they deserve, a great fight, and we put on a great fight. You know what I mean? And I think Brian Moore that would have put in time and effort and in a camp that I was allowed to, I think I put AJ away, and I think that fight could well happen along the line. Like going back to Lahat, I am going to 135 pounds, but I'm not saying goodbye to 145. I have unfinished business with Noad, and that's with the greatest respect to him too. But I think me and him will headline a card in Israel based on the back of that last fight.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And I mean, obviously you're planning to get off to a flying start at Bantamweight against Son Labin. Do you know anything about him, your opponent for Birmingham?
Yeah, he's a tricky opponent. He's well versed. He's game. He's well conditioned. He's been to decision many times. No, he's got good kicks. He's got tricky footwork, is what I would say, and his grappling. He seems to have a grappling base, but there's a lot of wasted, inefficient footwork in MMA. It's one of the things that really stand out to me, and it's something that I put in a lot of time and a lot of effort in, and I will make up for his. I will capitalise on these inefficiencies. I'll put too much pressure on him, and I'll pick my shots, and he'll crumble. And it's the way I can see it going. I can't see it going into round two, but hey, if it does, I'm a well-conditioned athlete, and I will get the finish for sure.
When that last card happened, Bellator Dublin, when everybody was making their fantasy matchups, maybe some people that didn't realise that you were injured to the extent that you were the name on all those lists we saw popping up on all the various publications throughout Ireland and the UK. When this card comes back in September, surely you're guaranteed a place in this card with a win against Son Labin. Even without, maybe, because you're such a fan favourite in Ireland.
I have to be on that card. My God, look what I sacrificed to be on that card the last time. I should have been in bed for weeks because I was sick, but I didn't. I was headlining an event to make sure I was on it. The last card that was in Dublin, it literally broke my heart. I was so devastated not to be there. You know what I mean? And I said, I don't care what happens the next time. I'll be. Nothing is getting in the way of me being on the Dublin card and on the main card. You know what I mean? I'll even if I have to go down and pick a fight outside, I'll still fight in Dublin that night.
So just finally, I expect that you want to get off to a flying start here at Bantamweight. What's your prediction for the Birmingham fight against Son Labin?
You know, it's I have a game plan like I always do. I can't see it going any other way than me put him asleep on the feet, but I feel so goddamn good in my grappling and my wrestling lately. I put so much time and effort into it that I almost want to go showcase that too. So who knows? You know what I mean? I've always been a well-rounded athlete. I've always done the work. So, you know, if it turns into a grappling fight match or a grappling fight, I think I'll put him away there too. But to be honest, I think I'll annoy him so much on the feet that he'll overcommit and he'll give me something. And I think that my power will translate too well in the Bantamweight division.
Another important thing, sorry, I know I said I had the final question just there, but you're going to be on TV. We've talked about this so many times. If you got people watching you, if you got people to hear your message after your fights, that would be a big deal for you. That's a whole new level to the Brian Moore brand, as far as I'm concerned. This is going to be on Channel 5, or the Bellator app. They have an option to watch one way or the other. How much does that mean to you? You're finally there. I mean, does that help in terms of sponsors, in terms of eyes on you, putting you on the radar? Do you feel like the TV thing is a big step up?
Yeah, for sure. Like being on TV and being in the public eye is a big thing when it comes to. But I want to showcase all the hard work that I do and put sponsors aside for a sec. That's what I want to do. And who the hell hasn't been entertained by a Brian Moore fight? If you haven't, you're a liar. I'm telling you, I'm entertained. I go home and look at my fights going, fuck, that was a good one. Because I just love it. I started this fight as a fan. So it's important to me that people enjoy watching my fights. You know what I mean? And look at even when I win, they're always like spectacular finishes. When I lose, you can see the heart and effort that I always put in. It's just going to be another tough fight. It's going to be another spectacle. It's going to be a fan favourite fight. I think, you know what I mean. I think it'll steal the show.
Brilliant, Brian. Thanks so much, man. Great to speak to you.